Yo, welcome back to the live stream. It's your boy Tokyo Stoner, coming back with another Final Fantasy VII Remake video. Today we're doing a guide on this challenge, the 3-person team versus top secrets. This is essentially the hardest challenge in the game. This is meant to be the equivalent of like the Ruby weapon or Emerald weapon challenges from the original. We're going to do a quick breakdown, go through it, talk about what it does, and I just beat it yesterday. When I beat it, it was a under 1% trophy, so it was like a 0% trophy. So we got here super early, and I'm just, gonna tell you how I did it, and yeah, let's get into it. So, 3-person team versus top secrets. There's 5 rounds to this battle, right? First round is Shiva. Here's some basic information before we go further into it. Yeah, basic information is you do get a summon gauge in this arena. From what I understood from my playthrough of it, you're only allowed 1 summon throughout all of the 5 rounds. So I didn't use my summon. I saved it until the end of the final round, and I used it when it was most clutch. You with me? So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, first round was Shiva, right? So in my build, I did another video breaking down the build. If you stay through this right to the end, I will go through the materia build briefly just to show you, how the setup is. But basically, one of my damage dealers had a fire magic on, right? The fire magic was specifically for Shiva. So I would rip into Shiva. I would basically, your support against Shiva, you don't need to use barrier or mana wall. You can get away with just using mana ward, because Shiva doesn't do much physical damage from what I could tell. She mainly does magic damage, not much physical, mainly magic. So also make sure your defense is magic up. You got a lot of magic defense, because that makes a big difference. Considering that the first 4 rounds are all summons, you definitely want some magic defense to protect against the more powerful attacks like Tsunami and Mega Flare. Anyway, first round with Shiva, the way I'd start the fight, Aerith is going to get her bar up, then she's going to cast the level 2 barrier spell to protect against magic damage on the team. Tifa is then going to cast haste on herself, and Tifa is going to start dealing mad damage. She's also going to cast haste on Cloud when she gets a chance, and basically the party going to be Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith. Sorry, I didn't say in the beginning. We're going to be using Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith for this. I didn't find Barrett was supportive enough. He didn't have enough MP to last until the final round. So yeah, getting into it. Cloud and Tifa, you need to just wreck her. Just keep your health up. Keep an eye on yourself. Conserve your MP. Put barriers up when you need to. Get her to half health. That typically happens when you've got her first stagger bar up. So get the first stagger. And also, that's something to note. In all of the first 4 rounds, yeah, you tend to be safe from the ultimate attack until you've staggered them. That's from my experience. So they typically don't do their ultimate move until they're around half health or quarter health. So just expect it and know that it's coming. And if you're not prepared for it, you're gonna die. Shiva also has one of these attacks, the Diamond Dust. So yeah, wail away at her. Basically physical attacks. If you are struggling, feel free to let Cloud use a Firaga, but I'm saving that magic for the second half of the fight. Get the first stagger. Make sure everyone's got decent health. Get Aerith to put up the barrier to protect against the magic damage, and survive Diamond Dust. Right? Once you've hit the first stagger, your whole angle is just about surviving the Diamond Dust attack. Cool, you survived the attack. Shiva now, you need to rush her down. She's going to be doing twice as much damage as she was in the first phase of the fight. There's going to be icicles dropping from the ceiling on you. Make sure if you see the icicle dropping, you run. A lot of the time she'll put you to sleep before she drops the diamonds on you. And in that instance, find any character which is not asleep and get the fuck out of there. Do you get what I'm saying? If anybody dies, feel free to cast the rise, right? Like I said, I will do a brief breakdown of the build, but you're going to have MP pluses in there. So part of that is so that you can easily cast the rise, because your characters are going to be dying left and right. This phase of the fight is where you want to be using Cloud's Firaga. So if you've got Aerith, put down the Arcane Ward, yeah, on Cloud, and start casting Firaga, right? If you've got 2 ATB gauges, you could cast 4 Firaga on Shiva, and she'll be fucked up, man. So yeah, Shiva should be a easy run, right? Once you got her down tight. She, on an inconsistent run or on a tricky one, she can trip you up and really cause some heavy damage, but you should be fine dealing with Shiva once you get used to it. Cool. Second round is Fat Chocobo. Fat Chocobo really seems quite easy in this challenge. Almost out of place with how his difficulty is so low compared to some of the other rounds. I'm not complaining. To start the fight, I'm gonna put barrier on the party because Fat Chocobo is mainly dealing physical damage. So throw barrier on the party. Get Tifa. Tifa's gonna cast haste, and Tifa just rips this thing, man. If you've got, let me double check the ability. If you've got this ability from Tifa, True Strike. If you've got True Strike, you can basically stun lock the Fat Chocobo with Tifa. I've done it mad times. You've seen it on the stream. If you haven't, you can go and check it. You're just spamming square. You hit it with True Strike. Keep spamming square. Hit it with True Strike. Throw Unbridled Strength in there every now and then for extra damage. And you can basically stun lock the Fat Chocobo. So yeah, just keep your barrier up. Keep haste on Tifa, sometimes haste on Cloud if you want to speed up the fight. I use this fight as a chance to conserve MP, especially for Cloud, because Cloud may be running pretty low on MP after that Shiva fight, depending on how many Farragut spells you used. So the next 2 rounds, Fat Chocobo, and the third round is Leviathan, you don't need to use any MP with Cloud, unless you're reviving or healing. So you use those as chances to replenish your MP, right? So in this round, see it as a rest, see it as a breather, right? Just keep your barrier up so you don't take more damage than you need to. Use haste on Tifa and just wreck this fucking thing. He does have an ultimate attack, but it never affected me. I don't even, did you get what I mean? I never took damage from the ultimate attack that I noticed. The most trickiest thing you get from this final, from Fat Chocobo is when he's just about to die, if you don't kill him quick enough, he's going to spawn Tomberries, and the Tomberries have a high chance of killing members of your team. So literally in the last sort of 30 seconds of the fight, you really want to just rush him down, focus damage, and get him out of there. You don't want to prolong the fight and start healing and stuff like that, because Tomberries are just going to pull up on you and start killing you. And you know, you can deal with Tomberries, but it's not ideal in the middle of this challenge, right? Cool. So that's Shiva down. You just beat Fat Chocobo. Now you're dealing with Leviathan. Cool. You want to be using Air Rift for range, right? Because a lot of the time Leviathan's out of range. So anytime he is out, use Air Rift. This fight is not necessarily difficult. It's much more of a patience test. So anytime Leviathan is in range, get Tifa and Cloud to rush him down, because they'll be wrecking him at this point. Focus on building stagger, you know, focus thrust. That ability I just showed you from Tifa, make sure you're just smashing him with those. Get his stagger bar up. Aerith is going to be using, typically, because you want to be conserving MP, if you've got a lot, you know, maybe use a mana wall, but I recommend you save that for the next round. I would probably be casting the level 2 spell, the mana ward, the one that protects from magical damage. I'd probably be casting that and doing my best to block his physical attacks, because you can see them coming. The main physical attack is the one where he flies across the arena. You can see him winding that up, so just block it. There's not much to say about the Leviathan fight. Like I said, I don't find it particularly difficult. I just find it's more a thing of patience. This is why we have steadfast block in the build, because against Leviathan, again, you're going to be doing a lot of blocking. If you don't block against Leviathan, you're going to get destroyed. But if you just respect the block, Leviathan's very easy to get through. It's just, like I said, about having the patience, working the stagger. One main thing to watch out for Leviathan, like with Shiva, she's got the Diamond Dust. Leviathan has the Tsunami. Once you've staggered him once, pay attention. Anytime he's charging up, look at him. It always says in the game, it's hard to notice sometimes with everything that's going on, but above the enemy's name, you see, like in red, it's going to say the name of the move that they're about to let off. So if you look on Leviathan and above his name it says Tsunami, you need to run for cover, motherfucker. Get the barrier, get your HP up, get everything up, right? And again, in the next rounds we're going to get further into it, but the fight is not always about dealing damage in this scenario. There are going to be maybe 1 to 2 minutes where all of your ATB gauges are going to be being spent on getting the team back to full health and getting barriers up and things like that. And make sure you respect that. Do you get me? Because some of these, no matter how well you're playing, you can just get one-shotted by a lot of these moves. Shiva can one-shot you, Leviathan can one-shot you, Bahamut can one-shot you, and the final boss can also one-shot you. From what I've seen, the final boss can't one-shot the entire party, but he can one-shot individuals. So yeah, with Leviathan, make sure you always have one ATB gauge with your support. That's one crucial tip that I would definitely pass on. Your support always has to have at least one ATB gauge, right? So as soon as you notice, because sometimes you notice a little late, as soon as you notice what's happening and that your team's about to die, you throw the barrier up, right? Throw up some chakras, throw up whatever you can to just get yourself strong enough to survive the attack. And once you survive the tsunami, so long as you stick to the strat, use Airish at range, use Cloud and Tifa for the close range. I guess if you're struggling with the bit where Leviathan starts flying around, literally just make sure you got your steadfast block, save your ATB gauges, use chakra to keep your health up, and use Aeris for range damage. I use Ray of Light to try and get his stagger bar up. Anytime he comes down, smash him with your full gauges, get as much damage out of him as you can. Anyway, now on to the real actual challenge of this thing. The fourth round, in my opinion, is by far harder than the fifth round, and this is the one that you're going to be grinding for. So in the fourth round, you fight Bahamut. Halfway through the fight, he's going to summon Ifrit, right? And at that point, you'll be fighting Bahamut and Ifrit simultaneously. It's a bit fucked. Oh, and typically about 30 seconds to 1 minute after summoning Ifrit, Bahamut is also going to let off a Mega Flare. So you need to be prepared for that. This whole fight is basically hinging on your ability to survive the Mega Flare and get rid of Ifrit quickly. If you take too long to get rid of Ifrit, and if you fail to survive the Mega Flare, you can't beat the, then that's what this whole fight comes down to basically. You're just grinding out to try and survive that one moment. So let me break down this thing. As soon as Bahamut comes up on you, you want to cast the level 3 barrier, the Mana Ward, because he does do physical attacks, but his physical attacks often are charged with magic as well. So a lot of the time he's dealing physical and magic damage at the same time. So you want the full barrier up as much as possible. Keep in mind you do have another round coming, but you want the physical barrier up as much as the maximum barrier up, as much as possible, right? Make sure you're surviving. You want haste, because Bahamut is often in range. It's very rare that Bahamut goes out of range, unless he's triggering an attack or something. So to be honest, Tifa and Cloud can really kick the shit out of Bahamut, especially Tifa if she's got haste on, and she's just wrecking with that the ability I showed you, the purple pain one. Tifa can kick the shit out of him, and so can Cloud with the focus thrust. And really, the first half of the fight is just going to be about not necessarily spamming your barrier, because you can survive without it for little periods of time, but do respect Bahamut, do keep an eye on your barrier, and mainly having haste on your damage dealers to make sure you can fucking wreck him. Do you get what I'm saying? Once he gets to around half HP, he's going to do an animation where he's going to summon Ifrit. Now you're in trouble. This is why your other damage dealer is going to have ice, right? And you're going to cast as soon as Ifrit shows up, you're just going to cast level 3 ice spells on him. Aerith is going to put the arcane ward down on whoever's casting ice. So you're going to hit him hopefully for 4 Blizzarders if you've got max gauge, right? Worst case, you hit him for 2, run around a little bit or charge up another gauge, hit him for another 2. If you've got haste on, getting that extra gauge won't be a issue. But Ifrit does fall fairly quickly, so you really want to just make sure you've got the Blizzard to counter him. If you don't have Blizzard, you are probably going to struggle, right? Because he is strong as fuck. He is a god after all in the lore of the game. Your physical attacks are not really relevant to him, so you do have to respect his weakness. I wouldn't recommend summoning Shiva here to deal with him, because you're going to want your summon for the next battle. Although the next battle, in my opinion, is much easier, so you could potentially summon Shiva here and deal with the next battle by with your characters, but that's a choice I leave for you. So yeah, the way I dealt with Ifrit, I smothered him with Blizzard spells. I kept my party's team, their health high. I did my best to keep their health as high as possible. We had the level 3 barrier up the entire time. There was no time we didn't have the level 3 barrier up. And essentially, as much as I said you're hitting Ifrit with the Blizzard magic, if your health is not maxed, don't worry about that. run, try and get the fuck out of there for a minute and get your health fucking maxed. If Ifrit is really running you down, then you hit him with a blizzard just to slow him for a bit. But at this point, as soon as Bahamut summons Ifrit, your main focus needs to be on getting back up to max health and getting the barrier up. Now, when he drops the Mega Flare, it does seem inconsistent. I feel like he does it when your team is struggling. So sometimes he'll summon Ifrit and do the Mega Flare straight afterwards. Sometimes he'll summon Ifrit and do the Mega Flare 3 minutes afterwards. So make sure you're just keeping your shit together, keeping your barrier up, keeping an eye on Bahamut and what he's doing, keeping an eye on your health, and any chance you get, you're going to hit Ifrit with Blizzard, right? Or not Blizzard, Blizzardgar, but you're going to be hitting him with that high level ice magic, hopefully with an arcane ward down, right? And your support Aerith always has to have 1 ATB gauge. So as soon as you get an inkling that the Mega Flare is coming, just in case your barrier is down, you're able to cast Barrier, or you're able to cast Curaga or something. When the Mega Flare goes off, if your party has survived, maybe you've got a few members alive. From my experience, I had 1 member alive, and I think they had like 100 HP or 1000 HP. They were basically dead on their feet. I had to run. I think they still had haste on, so I ran from the enemy, cast an Arise on one of my fallen teammates. They came back with full HP, swapped to that character. They did a Curaga or an Arise, and everyone was back to full health within like sort of 30 seconds. Very quickly, everyone was back to full health. So again, I'll be breaking down the build at the end, but being set up to deal with those situations is insanely clutch, right? Super clutch. If you've got those setups ready for you, then you can turn what looks like a hopeless situation into a fight that you can win. Bahamut did not do a second Mega Flare. He only did 1. So as soon as I had recovered from that attack, I did Blizzardga spam on Ifrit with the arcane ward, and we got Ifrit out of there. He died fairly quickly, and then the fight really felt much more easy to handle at that point. We rushed down Bahamut, we got him out of there, right? Respecting the barrier, still respect the barrier, still respect your health. Make sure in all of these fights you're spamming chakra, yeah? Don't be afraid to use chakra. If your character's below 50% HP, maybe consider using chakra. It's only 1 gauge, and like I said, keeping your team alive in this fight at a lot of situations is more important than dealing damage, right? Because a lot of these attacks can deal 5,000 damage and your character just gets wiped. So respect the bosses. Now, if you trialed and errored that Bahamut Ifrit fight enough times and you managed to survive the Mega Flare and you finally got to the final boss, you're in luck, because from my experience he's weak as shit compared to the last challenge and even the Shiva fight and some of the other fights. I got him out of there in the first run, and I'm going to explain to you how I did it. So when the fight started, he shot me with like a giant cannon, so I just ran. I tried to run, but the cannon does have tracking. So if you see him loading up with that cannon attack and he's locked onto one of your characters, maybe run away from your allies so they don't get caught in the blast, and make sure you block it. I was just didn't want to die, so I made sure I had my level 3 barrier up the entire time. If you're more confident, pay attention to him, see what types of attacks he's doing. From my experience, I could see him doing magic and physical though, so I recommend having your barrier up the whole time. Don't attack his main body, attack his feet. So the whole concept is your support character gives the barrier and you're gonna have haste on your damage dealers again, right? And your support, the entire focus of your support is having their ATB gauge full at almost all times, and only using gauges to either buff yourself, or when the final enemy Pride and Joy, it has an attack where it picks up your characters. When it picks up your character's gonna die after X amount of time, but you can stagger Pride and Joy if you hit it with enough damage in the hand it's holding your character with. So you want to use Ray of Judgment from Aerith. Use the Ray of Judgment and target that at his hand for what usually ends up being a free stagger, MP free stagger. I mean, you could use Thunder Magic, which I think he's weak to. I also was using my Blizzard. I mean, Pride and Joy is resistant to fire, so you don't want to use fire, but you can use Blizzard against him. But yeah, like I said, to conserve on MP, I resorted to Ray of Judgment. That was part of the reason why my Aerith always had 2 gauges filled. And the main tip for getting rid of this guy is Cloud and Tifa. You want to constantly be maneuvering to behind his feet, because that's his weakest point. You deal more damage from behind, and his feet are his weakest point. So don't be afraid of him. Make sure your damage dealers are up close, pressuring him, attacking his feet. That you can stagger him also by breaking his feet. So just keep trying to get behind, give Tifa buffs, keep damaging, keep your barrier up, keep your haste up. He has one attack where he sort of stands up straight and then falls forward on top of to your team, and whoever that hits is going to get one shot. So typically you only ever hit one character for me at a time, but if you were all clustered right in front of him, you're probably going to get fucked. So I think, yeah, as long as you respect that, do give him a little bit of space, right? Or make sure that Aerith is always backed away from him. But ideally you want Tifa probably up behind him, just wrecking him with let me remind on, we know the ability from Purple Pain, just wrecking him with that ability. And yeah, he's not really that hard. He only has one ranged attack, which is this laser beam cannon, which has a big wind up and is easy to see. Just make sure you block it. Destroy this motherfucker. Now, one thing I could tell you, he may have a final phase. I don't even know if he has a final phase, because like I said, I'd been conserving my summon for this fight. So as soon as he got to maybe 25% HP and started looking a little different, I summoned Bahamut. All my team was given haste. We just, I just spammed Bahamut attacks on him, and he got destroyed. He disappeared before he knew what was going on. Deleted. So yeah, bang. How long was that? 22 minutes? Nice. Well, yeah, it's a lot to cover, so I tried to just bang through it as quickly and as concisely as I could, so it was still clear for you guys to understand. We'll do a quick recap if you're still here at the end. So that's Shiva. You want to use fire magic on her in her final stage to slow her down and stop her wrecking you. Make sure you've got your mana ward up and she should fall. Level 2 Fat Chocobo. You want barrier, like level 1 barrier spell. You want haste on Tifa, and Tifa can basically kill that thing by herself. Leviathan, just be patient, take time, respect his attacks. Use your support. Your support is the most useful character in this fight, and just rush him down with your mains, get him out of there. Bahamut Ifrit is the true challenge. Make sure you've got a setup in mind for how you're going to survive the Mega Flare. If you don't have that in mind, I'm going to show you the build afterwards. Give me a few minutes. But yeah, make sure you survive the Mega Flare, get Ifrit out, get Bahamut out. Final boss, Pride and Joy. Really, if you've made it this far, he's a piece of piss. Just, if he picks you up, shoot the hand that he's picked you up with. Focus physical damage on the feet. If you've got magic damage, conserve it for when he picks your character up for the free stagger, and summon on this fool. I would say you could summon in the Bahamut and Ifrit fight, because I did find that fight much harder. But again, that's a personal choice. That's up for you. You'll have to trial and error it. Alright, cool. Quickly get into this build just so you can see how exactly we made this happen. Cool. So lightning, he didn't have lightning, sorry, my bad. I've changed that since I actually ran it. So Cloud had fire, right? All of your materials are mastered, so you might be able to do it without mastered, but I had full mastered set. My characters are level 50. Everything was fully set. Anyway, I had a fire materia on Cloud that was specifically just for dealing with Shiva. The only reason it's there is for Shiva. You have to respect each round of this challenge, otherwise you're gonna get wrecked. So yeah, fire for Shiva. ATB assist, because with Cloud I'd basically almost exclusively be using focus thrust. You spend so much time during this challenge building up stagger damage. Focus thrust is a must-have. If you let Cloud get to the 2 bars and you spam the focus thrust, this ATB assist is going to give Tifa and Aerith a boost to their ATB, and that comes in clutch here for heals and damage. Chakra is a must, because like I was saying, look, it's 5 rounds against 5 of the strongest enemies in the game. And look, even with the MP plus, Cloud's only got 120 MP, right? So you need Chakra. Without it, you're just going to run out of MP. And as soon as you run out of MP in this, you're pretty much dead, because then you can't revive anyone, because there's no Phoenix Downs. So yeah, don't run out of MP. revival materia and healing materia across the board. Revive, because the rise is a cheap way to get a character back to full HP. It's lower, its MP cost is low, only 14, but it fully revives your character with maximum health. Healing, you don't want to be using it, you're just using it in the clutch. So there are situations where chakra is not going to recover enough health. Also, chakra can't be used on other party members, so healing comes in the clutch. Steadfast block is a must-have. Every character has to have steadfast block, because there are so many attacks from these enemies which you are forced to block. If you don't block, you get wrecked, so you might as well benefit from blocking, right? It's like a hidden mechanic. It's like a mechanic of the game that you don't have access to at the beginning, but steadfast block is basically a core mechanic at this point. ATB stagger, again, you need this at least on your 2 damage dealers, because you want to get these bosses out of there as quick as possible. You don't want to be staggering them and dealing no damage. You want to be staggering them and taking half of their life bar. So you need ATB stagger. MP up is a must, because again, like I said, there's no Phoenix downs. Every character has to have the ability to revive other characters, right? Without that, you're missing core mechanics of the game. You can't revive fallen characters, you're fucked. So you need MP up. Because look, Cloud's going to be casting the expensive Firaga spell potentially 4 or more times against Shiva, right? So you need MP up to make sure you got enough to do that in the first place, and then so that each round when you get your 50% MP recovery, you're getting a straight 60. Do you get me? To get you back up to where you need to be. HP up, because you're fucked without it. You need the HP up because you need the extra health to manage against, you know, to tank the Mega Flare, really. I mean, I was almost considering taking 2 HP ups to make the Mega Flare easier to handle. But yeah, make sure you've got at least 1 on every character. I gave Cloud the Hard Edge, the Rune Amulet, and every character had a set of Revival Earrings. Right? So this is what I went in with. Hard Edge, Rune Amulet, Revival Earrings. Tifa had Metal Knuckles, Sorcerer's Amulet, Champion Belt. Ice materia for when Ifrit comes out, so we can get rid of Ifrit and get him out of there quickly, because Ifrit and Bahamut is very challenging and intimidating, so you want ice for Ifrit. Time, because you need to split your MP cost across the team as well. You can't have your support doing all of the spells, because they're going to burn through their MP, especially since barrier is so important in these fights. So I've given Tifa time. She builds up ATB quickly as it is, so she'll get a few free ATB charges. When I see Tifa with a free charge, she's going to throw haste on herself or someone else. ATB stagger must have, revive, healing, steadfast block. I already broke down, you know, how you need them in this fight. MP up, Tifa's got 2 MP ups. The reason I gave her 2 is because as much as she's going to be doing time and ice for Ifrit, sorry, I also am using Tifa a lot for heals. Right? A lot of the time I just found myself using Tifa for heals. I know Cloud is just as good, but again, like I said, I gave her 2 MP ups. She's only got 139 even after the 2. So for reference, look, Cloud's got 123, she's got 139, and it took 2 to get her that high. You with me? So yeah, that was how I went. Aerith, barrier magnify, can't do it without that. You're gonna be fucked. Chakra, healing materia, revive materia, steadfast block, 2 MP ups, because Aerith's casting this barrier. Without this you can't fight, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, without this you're fucked. So yeah, I gave her 2 MP ups, and as you can see, look, she's got 203 MP, right? So she's at a level where you're going to be able to cope. And then 2 HP ups, because Aerith is so squishy, there's no way she'd be able to handle the fight. I had her with 1 HP up and she just kept dying, so I gave her 2, and you know, she stopped dying after that. So yeah, and Aerith's got the reinforced staff because it has the highest amount of MP. She's got the chain bangle because she's the squishiest, so she needs the extra defense. And again, like, she's got revival earrings. Tifa as well would have the revival earrings, right? Now here's one thing worth arguing in this fight, is that your characters die so often that revival earrings are not necessarily gonna be the best choice. I still found them useful because I liked having my characters revive in the clutch, especially once you've done it a few times and you can beat Shiva. She's fairly inconsistent, but if you can consistently beat Shiva beat the Fat Chocobo and beat Leviathan without dying, then that means when you get to the Bahamut fight, at least one or more of your characters are gonna have the instant revive, right? So for me, I found it useful, but you could argue that you want to use different accessories, you do that. But I think Hard Edge Rune Amulet, Metal Knuckles Sorcerer's Armlet, and Reinforced Staff Chain Bangle, those are, you need that shit for this build to work. Leviathan is the summon I gave to Aerith. Tifa got Ifrit because it gives you, basically I'm using these as buffs. So Ifrit gives you attack damage, that's why I gave it to Tifa. Leviathan I think gives some kind of magic buff. Let's double check what it is before I say what it is. Yeah, look, magic attack, magic defense. So I gave that to my magic, my main spellcaster. Tifa's got Ifrit for the physical damage buff, and Cloud's got Bahamut because Bahamut's probably what I'm gonna summon. And out of these three, he's the tankiest. He's the least likely to die. So yeah, whoever does the summon, I don't want them dying in the middle of it and we run out of summon. So yeah, bang, that's how the build's set up. That's the equipment, that's the gear, that's the materia. I gave you a quick breakdown of each round and how to deal with it, how to fight the bosses and shit. Like I said, this is the hardest challenge in the game. I basically did it on my normal playthrough. So don't feel like you have to play through hard before you come here, right? You can just come here straight after you access chapter select and try it out for yourself, which is what I recommend doing. It will make hard mode much more fun in the long run. If you don't know where to farm, go to the wool market, check my guide video on how to farm up to make yourself strong enough to fight this thing. This is what you receive when you beat it. The Gotterdammerung, right? My friend from Germany, he translated it. He says it means Twilight of the Gods. And the ability is, look, enter battle with a full limit break gauge. Limit break gauge gradually fills during battle. Now obviously if you've played this game, limit breaks do far much more damage than they did in the original, or at least that's how it feels. They're much more significant, and yeah, limit breaks are some of the most OP attacks in the game. So outside of being OP as fuck and just wrecking enemies and being super OP, it also looks like a lot of fun. You can give this to any character. Like I imagine running around the game with Barret and letting Catastrophe off on every trash mob we encounter. Shit like that. You can do fun things with this. I think it'll definitely make your hard playthrough more enjoyable, unless you like challenge. Unless you're like, no, I don't want that, I want to be more challenged. But I think it just looks like so much fun. You can't turn it down. Anyway, this is the reward. That was the gameplay guide. That was the build guide. I'm gonna take a break, figure out what I'm gonna put up next. And if you found the video useful, make sure you like, subscribe. All of that shit helps the channel go a long way. Thanks for watching, those of you that's there. And what was I gonna say? Right, that's it. Twitch, Tokyo Stoner. YouTube, Tokyo Stoner. My other YouTube, Light Codes Music. Check it all out. All the links in the description, all of that cool shit. Yeah, man, I'm out. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves, guys. Peace.
Nothing but money on my mind. She say she love me, love is blind. She ride it up and down and then rewind. When we fuck, it gets better every time. I got two bad bitches by my side. I tell my ops don't even try. Anytime I lift, I let it fly. Come down and put two spirits in the sky. Hit your block and put some spirits on the floor. Niggas know I got a lot, but I need more. Nowadays, all my guap is kept offshore. Stash box, I got a couple keys of raw. Whoa, the weed is Arabian, burning it down like a Sabian. I'm coming down to the stadium, rolling with angels and aliens. There's only real ones in my radius. Everyone here know my alias. I'm coming down to the stadiums, rolling with angels and aliens. She take it straight to the face, laughing all of the way to the bank. Pardon, I take it straight to the face, pull up and parking. Jump out the spaceship, step over your carcass. When you look around, you see killers and carnage. My niggas is Martians, yeah, we live and die by the stardom. Even when we're in the darkness, you know we stay lit regardless. All of your bitches, they love me. All of your hatred is harmless. Only the gods can judge me, yeah. Even when we're in the darkness, you know we stay lit regardless. All of your bitches, they love me. All of your hating is harmless.